Over the weekend, we're going to be getting a raid day featuring Shadow Ho-Oh, and for this video, I'm going to be telling you how you can take it down with ease. Alright, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going fantastically well, and let's get right into it. Alright, so this weekend we are getting a Shadow Raid Day featuring Ho-Oh, and this Pokemon is pretty strong, and this is going to be a great opportunity for you to get yourself a Shundo. And the reason why I say that is because recently Niantic announced that they're going to be updating Shadow Raids, where Shadow Legendary Raids are going to have a boosted Shiny rate and a higher IV floor. So your chances of getting yourself a Shundo are actually pretty high if you're willing to purify your highest IV Shadow Ho-Oh. Shadow Ho-Oh is going to be a fire and flying type legendary raid boss, which means it's going to have a double weakness against rock type attacks and regular weaknesses against electric and water type attacks. It's also going to have resistances to bug, grass, fairy, fighting, fire, ground, and steel type attacks, so avoid bringing any Pokemon with these moves. Now if you want yourself perfect IVs, and I'm sure you do, you're going to want one that is 2207, and if it's weather boosted, it's going to be 2759. Shadow Ho-Oh is going to be weather boosted by 2 weather types, which are going to be sunny and clear weather along with windy weather. Something you also need to keep in mind is that there were recently a lot of changes to Shadow Legendary Raids, so getting yourself perfect IVs is actually going to be a lot easier than it was before, and we'll talk about that more later. Now, if you want to secure the win against Shadow Ho-Oh, obviously it's going to be a lot more difficult compared to regular 5-star raids, so if you want to secure the win, you will want to bring a raid group that consists of 8 to 10 trainers that are at least level 30, and if you all have purified gems, then the number of trainers that are required are going to be drastically lower. And if you want to challenge yourself, you could definitely do this with just 4 trainers in the raid group. Just make sure you're all level 40, bringing purified gems, and you have the best counters. Speaking of which, let's talk about those counters right now. They include either Mega Diancie or Mega Tyranitar as the Mega Evolution, and then of course there's Shadow Tyranitar and Shadow Rhyperior as the non-Mega counters. These are going to be the absolute best of the best that you could bring, but of course they're going to be quite expensive, so you should also consider bringing Rampardos, regular Tyranitar, as well as regular Rampardos. All 3 of these Pokemon with rock type attacks are going to deal an insane amount of damage up against this raid boss. You really want to utilize that double weakness to rock types. It's very rare that a Pokemon has a double weakness, but Shadow Ho-Oh is going to be double weak against rock types, which means if you have really good rock types in your collection, you will definitely want to consider bringing them. It's going to be a really solid weekend of some great raiding. So yeah, with that said, let's talk about all of the best counters and how you could take down Shadow Ho-Oh, because if you do bring the right counters, you're going to be able to take down more of these raid bosses and possibly get yourself a high IV shiny. Alright, so there you have it. That's basically how you could take down Shadow Ho-Oh, and like I mentioned, if you bring the right counters, you're going to be able to take it down with the least number of trainers as possible, and that's going to allow you to do more of these raids over this event. And I really do think that's important because with the new changes to Shadow Raids, this is going to be your best opportunity to get yourself a Shundo of Ho-Oh, especially if you are able to get a high enough IV that you could purify. And then of course you could get one that is just pure Shadow, and that's going to be a really solid Pokemon for raid battles and PvP. And yeah, I really do like these changes, and I really do like the fact that they're doing a raid day featuring a Shadow Legendary. It's definitely going to be a really good time. Oh, and I should also mention that they lifted the restriction on Shadow Raids being in-person only, so you will be able to remote raid into these Shadow Ho-Oh raids over this weekend. That's something you should definitely prepare for. If you have a whole bunch of remote raid passes, it might be worth doing 1 or 2 of these so that you could possibly pick yourself up that Shundo. So yeah, with that said, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding Shadow Ho-Oh down below. Do you plan to go all out for this raid day, or are you going to be skipping it for one reason or another? Definitely share what those reasons are, and let's have a great discussion. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the best way you could do so is by joining my Patreon. And just like all the players that you see on the bottom of your screen, if you become a paid Patreon member, you will get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids or the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you could do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula on the platforms that you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to catch up with my daily life. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one.